Adams.
Aye.
Councilmember Dugas.
Aye.
Councilmember Oliver.
Aye.
Motion approved. Item 6B will be the amended notice of general election and special election to be held on November 2nd, 2021. I'm going to read it. The amended notice of the Groves general election, a special election for the adoption of the Fire and Police Employee Relations Act, and the special election to amend the charter of the City of Groves to provide for binding arbitration and collective bargaining with the International Association of Firefighters Local 1905. This amend is due to polling locations, the correct changes.
There was a revision with the county polling one of their locations and also a mailing address.
Mailing address.
That was for early voting?
It's
The
for,
mailing address?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
There'd be no other actions taken on that. Okay, item 7, City Attorney.
Ordinance number 2021-11. An ordinance amending Chapter 27, Utilities, Article 2, Rates and Charges of the Code of Ordinances, City of Groves, Texas, by amending Section 2728, Sewer Rates and Charges, Section 27-28.1, Industrial Sewer Rate and Surcharge, and Section 27-29, Water Rates and Charges, revising said sections to adjust the water and sewer rates, providing for a savings clause, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
Mayor and Council, this is actually the proposal, the budget that will raise the rate structure for water and sewer per thousand from $3.55 per thousand to $3.70 per thousand, or an increase of 15 cents. And we discussed that on the average bill, this would be a little bit over $1 for the average ratepayer.
I didn't see you up there. Make a motion? We need to make a motion?
Yes, ma'am. We'll need a motion and a second.
I make a motion to consider approval of an ordinance to amend the water and sewer rate structures.
Ordinance number 20.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can just, if you say the ordinance number, that'll
It's
help
not
us
on
out.
here.
It's at the top of the second page.
Ordinance number 2021-11. Is that what y'all have?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 2021-11. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, for public knowledge, are we, where do we sit compared to our other sister cities in comparison to the rates?
The three cities were probably the highest. If you look at water alone, we're definitely the highest. On the sewer, we're even with Nederland, I believe.
What about the garbage?
Garbage, I believe we're the highest in the three as well.
No, we're not.
No?
No, we're not. We're actually equal with Nederland and I think $1 more than Port Neches. No, $1. I've got it written down here. Give me 1 second.
It's in the email that you sent.
Yeah. Okay. Groves is $19.96 per month. Nederland is $20.25, and Port Neches is $19.50. So we're 46 cents higher than Port Neches and a little bit lower than Nederland
On sewer?
on garbage. On garbage.
And Nederland picks up only twice a month, out there,
Trash,
I
yes, sir.
understand.
They pick trash up twice a month.
Yeah, and then Port Neches, they pick up as much as we do.
They pick 8 garbage and 4 trash.
Yeah.
Port Neches does.
Thank you.
On the 2020 budget, how did our rates that we charge come in, generating the money that we expected to cover the cost of running the water and sewer?
A little less than expected.
So we collected less and spent more. Is that correct?
the budgeted numbers that we had projected with the increase were not realized. We realized less income than we were projecting with the increase.
So once again, it's 15 cents that we're asking to increase it to, which is about, what, 90 cents to $1.10 additional on each bill?
Assuming a 5,000 gallon bill, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sorry.
What is the average bill? Do we have it, any kind of?
About 5,000, between 4,000 and 5,000.
Give it the total dollar amount for that bill.
Well, no, just the average usage.
It's a little bit higher than 5,000 right now.
Is that would that be an increase in both sewer and water on their bill?
That is correct. It's on the variable volume greater than 2,000 on the water. Anything greater than will be an additional 15 cents per thousand. And on the sewer, it's 1,500 is inclusive with the base amount. And anything greater than 1,500 per thousand will be 15 cents as well.
So that would be, let's just say, $1 more for sewer and $1 more for water. It's just a roundabout.
We're projecting more of $1 for both, 50 cents on each.
Okay.
So as of now, without this increase, we're falling short of covering the actual cost.
The water sewer fund have had a hard time being self-supporting, I'll put it that way. Now, some of that is before you include the depreciation portion of that, it does have a positive revenue, but then there's a pretty large subsidy to the general fund that more or less we try to break even on, and we've been falling short versus projections on that last few years. And
Because
this
of
predates this.
depreciation.
I'm sorry, well, if you
That's the sole reason?
no, sir. When you look at the financials, you'll see the depreciation on there, and that's a non-cash transaction. So when you see the bottom line on water sewer, you'll see a large loss every year. Now, I would encourage council to look at the cash flow versus the actual balance sheet for that. And generally speaking, the water sewer is close to breaking even. Actually, it's a large positive revenue, but then there is a transfer from water sewer to the general fund, approximately $1 million every year, and that's what pushes it into negative every year. Does that make, you take the transfer out and the water and sewer would be self-supporting and then some.
And the transfer goes to the general fund
Correct.
or
Cover the administrative expenses with that overhead that goes with operating the water and sewer fund.
that doesn't cover salaries or anything within.
It's
the
just a
department.
lump sum that goes into the general fund.
It's a franchise. We charge it a franchise like we charge anybody that uses our utilities.
The city is charging that department.
A franchise fee.
Okay.
Same thing with garbage.
Right, and where does that?
A franchise fee goes to the general government, and that's what helps keep our tax rate lower, because if you didn't have those transfers back in, you'd have to make that money up something, with somehow, either with taxes or something.
How is that fee established
By percentage.
and how?
Well, it would take, is it 10%, Lamar, 8%? I can't remember.
It's a little less than 10%, yes, sir, but it's based on projections. And so it's a moving target each year. We're going to be trying to do break even in the fund, and as funds fall short, we'll have to offset the
Just like we charge utilities, just like we charge Republic Services a franchise fee. We charge the utility, electric utility, a franchise fee for using our easements and so forth. We are basically charging the garbage a franchise fee because they use our streets. They tear up our streets. Those monies go back into general fund. The same thing with water and sewer. They use the utility easements, so they're paying back to general fund, which still helps the taxpayer and helps the ratepayer because of the fact that basically by those transfers, it keeps us from having to raise taxes by any huge amount. And also, it pays the employees, and it pays for the overhead, it pays for all the things that basically general government, when we first got here, they used to call it employee usage, and it was very complicated. So Lamar and I just decided to go ahead and put it as a franchise fee, because the employee usage, you'd see columns, deductions, additions, and so forth and so on.
I guess I'm just kind of thrown by the way the city lets a division barely break even, if not break even. Kind of
Well, we try every year to break even, but depending on, we try to predict water sales, which is very difficult to predict. We try to predict a lot of different things, the chemical costs and so forth. So we do the very best we can making these predictions, but we're not always correct.
Every year, the budget that's presented to council is a balanced budget, a break-even budget, if you will. And depending on how sales go, it either is going to be above or below. And unfortunately, we've been way too optimistic in years previous, and we've been missing the estimates for at least 5 or 6 years.
So how much are we behind? If
Behind,
we're not breaking even, if we're,
How much we short?
yeah, there you go.
well, again, we're budgeting, with this increase, we have a balanced budget, so we're projecting 0. But again, it's when you look at the balance sheet, you'll see depreciation in there, and that's a non-cash transaction. So what I would encourage you to do is look at the cash flow, if you're looking at previous audits or previous budgets, to get an idea, and it'll be anywhere from $250,000 to $750,000 short in the previous years, depending which year you want to look at.
So if you change the percentage that you were charging the franchise, now you're telling me that there's not enough money for the city overhead?
No. Okay.
It has to come from somewhere, so you have to change
Okay.
that.
But in order to present a balanced budget in all 3 funds, which is general fund, water, sewer, and garbage, okay, we basically make transfers. The transfers from water, and sewer, and garbage are franchise fees. That goes to general fund, okay? I believe that's about $1.7 million.
It's less this year.
It's less this year, okay? So that's $1.7 million that if we didn't transfer, that we'd have to make up some other way. So
So what I'm saying, it doesn't cover the cost that's,
it covers the cost of garbage without any problem. We have missed it several years in water and sewer. That's how come we're asking for the increase.
I guess what I'm saying is that if you don't transfer that money, then the general
Fund will be short.
would be short.
Yes, sir, correct. That's correct. That's 100% correct.
So where's the taxes go?
Any other questions?
On your email, where you were saying the gross sanitation rate is $19.96 per month, is that with the new 15-cent raise, or is that what it is now?
That's what it is now. It's been that way for several years.
Okay.
I will tell you, and I will have to give a lot of credit to the Public Works Department, to Mr. Tentrup and Mr. Foxworth. They've found ways to lower the operational cost in sanitation, where we used to take our green waste to the landfill and pay to bury it. Now we take it to our own site, we have it chipped, and we either sell it or we dispose of it, and it's much, much more economical. Mr. Tentrup has negotiated a new rate with the City of Port Arthur landfill for a better rate on the disposal of our waste, and he's also got other contracts with Beaumont and other landfills in case we can't get into Port Arthur. So I've got to give a lot of credit to the Public Works Department, Mr. Tentrup and Mr. Foxworth, for making the operational changes that have saved us a lot of money in sanitation. I wish we could do that, and we're trying to do the same thing in water and sewer, but it's not quite as easy.
Yeah.
Any other questions? No other questions, we'll vote on the motion. Mayor votes aye. Mayor Pro Tem Baden.
Aye.
Councilmember McAdams.
Aye.
Councilmember Dugas.
Aye.
Councilmember Oliver.
Aye.
Motion passes. 7B, City Attorney.
Resolution number 2021-03, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Groves establishing a review of the investment policy of the City of Groves and recording changes to the investment policy or investment strategies.
This is a yearly item, Mayor and Council, and if you have any specific questions, Lamar will be happy to answer them. But it's something that we do every year.
Well, it has to be reviewed every year, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That is correct.
We need a motion?
Yes, ma'am. We'll need a motion in a second.
Consider approval of a resolution approving the investment policy for the City of Groves, resolution number 2021-03. Is that right?
A second.
I have a motion and a second for the approval of resolution number 2021-03 regarding the review of the investment policy of the City of Groves. Do you have any questions?
What's different on this one than any other year?
We haven't made any revisions to this since 2009 when they changed the FDIC insurance to 250.
So there's no change.
No, sir.
It's really thorough. I read it. I read all this.
Any other questions? Any other questions? We'll vote on the motion. Mayor votes aye. Mayor Pro Tem Baden.
Aye.
Councilmember McAdams.
Aye.
Councilmember Dugas.
Aye.
Councilmember Oliver.
Aye.
Motion approved. 7C, City Attorney.
Ordinance number 2021-12. Ordinance amending ordinance number 2021-06 of the City Council of the City of Groves dated June 21st, 2021, calling an election to be held in the City of Groves on November 2nd, 2021, for the purpose of electing a council member in Ward Number 1 for a 2-year term and a council member in Ward Number 3 for a 2-year term. Amending ordinance number 2021-08, calling a special election to be held on November 2nd, 2021, for the adoption of the Fire and Police Employee Relations Act, Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 174. And amending ordinance number 2021-09, calling a special election to be held on November 2nd, 2021, to amend the Grove City Charter by adding Article 14, Section 4, Collective Bargaining Impasse, providing for binding arbitration for firefighters, by amending the election day polling locations adopted by Jefferson County in Exhibit B of the Election Services Agreement between the City of Groves and Jefferson County, and providing information concerning Jefferson County, the authority conducting the election, and the early voting clerk, now required by amendment to the Texas Election Code effective September 1st, 2021.
We need a motion and a second.
I make a motion we consider approval of an ordinance amending ordinances 2021-06, 2021-08, and 2021-09, calling for a general election and special election to be held on November 2nd, 2021.
I second.
I have a motion and a second for ordinance number 2021-12, amending 2021-06, 2021-08, and 2021-09 concerning the general election and the special election for November 2nd, 2021. Do you have any questions? Are there any questions? Being no questions, we'll vote on the motion. Mayor votes aye. Mayor Pro Tem Baden.
Aye.
Councilmember McAdams.
Aye.
Councilmember Dugas.
Aye.
Councilmember Oliver.
Aye.
Motion approved. Item 8A, city manager invoices.
Mayor and council, the invoice approval list for September 13th, 2021 is as follows. Brentech Southwest Chemicals for the water plant, $7,728. City of Port Arthur sludge disposal landfill fees partially for July and August, $21,577. Gulf Coast 2021 street program, Monroe Boulevard, $280,855.31. Industrial Commercial Mechanical LLC, new 5-ton AC unit for the water plant, $6,500. Republic Services is a commercial dumpster collection, our Peace and Dignity program, and our new homes, $17,265. WatchGuard video software maintenance for police department, $5,160 for a grand total of $339,085.31.
Make a motion, we approve the invoice list for September 13th, 2021.
A second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the invoice list for September 13th, 2021. Do we have any questions? The software maintenance, is that a yearly thing or is that just when it comes out?
Let me check, hold on. Lamar, do you know?
Is that the watch guard one?
It's a year.
Oh, okay, never mind, I see it. You're right.
Was it said that it's yearly?
Yes, ma'am, it's yearly.
Any other questions? Any other questions? We'll vote on the motion. Mayor votes aye. Mayor Pro Tem Baden. Councilmember McAdams. Councilmember Dugas.
Aye.
Councilmember Alder.
Aye.
Motion approved. Item 9 would be councilmember comments. Anybody have anything they'd like to say?
I did. No, I would just like to make certain that our schedule that Mr. Black and Lamar have so thoroughly gone over with the charter in the state, I want to make sure that's all legal and correct, so that we're not out of compliance with anything.